Hi, everyone. We got a special guest in-house this week. It's going to help you reach optimal health. One of the top doctors in the nation. Super excited. Hold on to find out. This is Miss Natural Olympia Hilary.
And this guy right here is Doug Grant. And this gal over here is Dr.JeNeen Ridgeway. Not just one of my favorite health professionals of all time, but my favorite people of all time. So we're so glad you're here.
Formulator.
Oh, I talked the formula. He's also a formulator.
I guess 2 weeks now we kind of messed
Yeah.
up the opening, but we're just actually really excited about what's going on today. We are actually on day 4 of a virtual seminar for health professionals all around the nation, and we're really excited to wrap things up today. But we thought we'd pop in a little early to shoot this podcast. And what was interesting is we're thinking about what to talk about. Janeen's knowledge is so phenomenal, being a chiropractor, naturopath. One of my favorite certifications in the world, the Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist. And man, there's just so diverse of everything that she does and can do to help patients get better faster. But what we thought about was actually going into a little bit of the history to help you all see that no matter what your goals are in life, what your mission is, that there's a time when different events happen that you're able to make a decision. And it's in that moment that you have that space to make a decision or not that really determines your future and to hopefully motivate you to make the decision to take action. And I think you'll see those moments as we go through this. So thanks so much for being with us.
Absolutely. So excited to be here. I watch FitFam every single time it comes back.
Uh-oh. I want to know something from somebody else's perspective. Can you tell in the show the moment that he starts ticking me off? Does it like show?
The dynamic is so amazing. Great. But the dynamic is the fun part.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I'm always like, control it, Hilary. Don't be too ornery. Anyway, sorry. I just think that's so funny. But yeah, I want you to take us way back. Take us back to your roots, and then let's get going there.
Okay. Wow. So as a child, I always wanted to be a doctor, but I did not know, coming from Buffalo, New York, being a little Black girl, I didn't know anything about natural health. I did not know that it existed.
Yeah.
All I knew was regular medicine.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be a doctor. I had the little plastic doctor kits and everything.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. And so I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I never looked, I didn't look left, I didn't look right. That's what it was.
Wow.
And so as a teenager, I actually worked in a hospital. They had a youth program and I worked in the hospital. And that's when I'm like, oh, I don't see what you would.
Yeah.
For training.
Yeah.
And so I kind of stuffed that aside. And because I was really good in math and science, they tracked me into engineering.
Mm.
So I went to undergrad for mathematics and industrial engineering.
Wow.
And about halfway through, I'm like, this, like, I don't like anything about this. This is not going to work.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what's the quickest path out of here? So I dropped the engineering, got out with a bachelor's in math. And then I'm like, what the hell? Now what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like, this has nothing to do with my passion on the inside.
Yeah.
So I'm searching. And at that moment, I'm like, well, let me get into fitness for now while I figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I got certified as a personal trainer. Quickly realized I didn't really like training people, but I loved the learning of it. Yeah, I loved the anatomy,
Yeah.
and training and all of that and how you could, craft the body. So that was the first part of it. Eventually, there was a God moment. I got a letter, which was out of the blue.
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah.
Happen out of the blue.
Yeah.
And it was from a chiropractic college in Dallas, Texas. I'm in Atlanta at the time. And there's this 3-hour VHS tape that ages me a little bit.
Okay. Actually, I wanted to know about how long ago was this?
This was in 90. So I got out of undergrad in 96.
Okay.
So we're probably talking around 96 or
Okay.
97.
Okay.
Got a letter about natural health and how the body heals and how you just need to take away the interference and get what it needs. And I'm like,
this is it. Yeah.
Still not knowing anything about chiropractic. So I'm one of the few people that went to chiropractic school with no experience.
Wow.
It wasn't a health challenge. It wasn't any kind of experience. It was just philosophically, it made sense.
Wow.
That you're right. That you're one of the few because as you know, we teach thousands of chiropractors over the years, and it seems like every single one of them has that story that their neck was hurt, their back was hurt, we could help them. They went to a chiropractor and immediately, felt better. So it's like, I'm going to go do that. And that's actually the first time I've heard the
Yeah.
opposite of that. And so
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So I go to chiropractic school. Well, first, because I hadn't done pre-med, I had to take all these prereqs. But I'm a
Okay.
student. I love to learn.
Yeah.
So that was fine. I did that. I did accelerated prereqs, go to chiropractic school, absolutely loved it. And then almost flunked out at the end because I didn't want to touch anybody.
Oh my
After that, so
gosh.
just to
Yeah.
get out of school.
Yeah.
And while I had like a 4.0 grade average, I was scared and I was shy and I didn't want to talk to anybody.
Okay.
Get them to come in and I didn't want to touch anybody.
Yeah. Oh,
It's kind of tough as a entrepreneur doctor that you don't want to talk to people to come into your practice.
Like when you go, you don't know all of these things.
yeah.
It made sense. So that was kind of the first obstacle that I faced. There were a lot of miraculous interventions that helped me to get out and get started. And I started working with some doctors, just trying to figure it out, trying to get some experience. And, it was tough. Those years were really, really tough. I had to work really long hours.
Yeah.
I felt like I was doing all the work, making none of the money.
Mm.
And I was a single mom and, just ripping and running and going.
Yeah.
It was hard. But I knew that it was leading me towards what I really wanted. Now, there's one thing I forgot to say. While I was in chiropractic school, I'm a person, like if I see an opportunity, I'm going to seize it. So while I was in chiropractic school, I learned that you could get your CSCS, the Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist, which is a really prestigious certification.
Yeah.
If you're a chiropractic student, because of the coursework that we take, you can do it. Normally, you would have to be like a trainer or something like that.
Right.
So, so I went ahead and did that in school, and that was amazing, and never used it.
What's so funny about that I've noticed, we've only trained a couple of times together, but it's so interesting because anybody that we train with, there's so much time spent on form, right? And speed and all of that before we even get into the actual training. And I always love when you're in the gym because you're the opposite of that. You're slow. You just know that you know what you're doing because you're slow and controlled. Your form is always so good. So anyways, yeah, it's so obvious.
Always my first love.
Yeah.
Always my first love.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. And eventually, I know that I'll get back to it on a much higher level. I did do a couple shows way back in the year. Yeah, way back.
I didn't know that. How did I not know this?
Crazy thing, because I'm so shy, I didn't want to be out there in that swimsuit.
Okay.
Oh, that's not. This is
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a couple way back. Way back.
That's awesome.
I can't believe you never told me that. That's crazy.
I never did.
That's amazing, actually. Yeah.
So, so getting back, I'm out of school. I'm working for these doctors and just kind of struggling. And it got to the point where it was so bad. I finally said, you know what? I just need to start on my own. I just need to start figuring it out along the way. So, I left one of these offices in 2016.
Okay.
And started off on my own, just figuring it out.
Wow.
And
This is in Atlanta?
this is in Atlanta, yes. So, when you're figuring it out, you're just kind of building as you go, struggling.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I was doing what I love.
Yeah.
I wasn't making the money then. So I had a side job, which was really, it was condensed into long days, but it was really another full-time job. I was working in catering at the Atlanta Braves Stadium.
Okay.
So anybody that knows baseball knows they might be in town 10 days in a row. And our days were like 10 hours.
Whoa.
So I'm doing that. I'm going in my office in the morning. I'm going in there.
Whoa.
And then I heard this concept about residual income. And I'm like, now that's where it's at.
Oh my gosh. I love how your
of
brain
course,
works.
the only way to get to that at that point was network marketing.
Yeah.
So I'm working in my office. I've got another pretty much full-time job. And then in the evening, I'm spending all of my time trying to do a home-based business.
Oh my
Calls
gosh.
and all this
Yeah.
stuff. Because I'm like, residual income, having money come in that you don't have to constantly work for, that's where it's at. That's where yes. And so that's what's going on. Then I find OHS. Finding OHS was really a game changer for me because there was now a path and a way in a system, wow, where I could create that residual doing what I love and being able to give up some of that other stuff that was just really stealing time.
Yeah.
You know, it was like I enjoyed going there, but it was really a drain on my
Yes.
personal resources
Yeah.
and the time I had to spend with my daughter. And,
Yeah.
the things that make me happy, like being out in nature and being on the trails and being at the beach.
Yeah.
And so, so finding these systems was really like the first turning point. But still, now I have these things that are at my disposal, but I'm still shy, I'm still scared, and I'm still not working to my full potential.
Well, I love the fact that, you know, up to that point in the world of being a holistic health professional, right? It doesn't matter whether you're a chiropractor, a naturopath, a personal trainer, an acupuncturist, that even in medical school, right? They're not taught how to be an entrepreneur, to run a business. In fact, I've had one doctor told me he wasn't an entrepreneur. And I'm like, oh, so you work for the hospital or for, you know, the school or something? I'm like, no, we have my own little clinic. I'm like, you're an entrepreneur. Like, you like this thing.
Yeah.
Didn't even realize he was an entrepreneur. And I think that one of the things that is maybe by design, you know, if you don't want to look at it from a conspiracy side or whatever, is that medical doctors, holistic doctors aren't taught how to run a business, to be an entrepreneur, because the system's set up for them not to be successful. It really is set up that way because the ultimate is to work for a hospital or somewhere and have the insurance companies decide what you can treat, how you can treat it, what to recommend.
The ultimate on the other side,
On
not
the
the
other side.
actual ultimate.
Yeah, no, they're ultimate.
Their ultimate.
Right.
Yeah.
And they don't want the medical doctors to bust off and be holistic. And, you know, they don't want the chiropractors and naturopaths to have the success, just like you said, is, you know, go to your practice, but now you've got to have all these other jobs just to make ends meet. You're not going to reach the amount of people and help them heal that is possible. And I think a lot of it possibly is by design. And I mean, that's where you're at. You have all this knowledge. You're a great holistic health professional, but stuck in this place to where you truly couldn't help the amount of people and really be happy, right? Like be on the beach and be in nature and all that.
Yeah.
And so you're already a doctor at Optimal Health. You're already using our systems, but nothing big time had changed.
Right.
Then what?
So then I'm one of these people that if there's a seminar, if there's any kind of educational opportunity, I'm going to be there. And I'm going to be in the front row. And so I was at a seminar and I heard you talking to another doctor, and it was an older gentleman. And like there was a point where I saw something shift in you and you got really passionate about helping doctors to find their exit strategy. And I mean, like you were really passionate about it.
Yeah.
Most times when you talk about it, I would see a couple tears in the corner. And I like that because it lets me know like you really, really, really care. And so you're talking to this older gentleman about the fact that you recognize that he's getting to the end of his career, but yet doesn't have things lined up to where he's going to be able to survive after he's done.
Yeah.
And so, so you were encouraging him and giving him a challenge to use the system that had been put out to create this residual income. And I'm like, I need to do that. But the number you gave him to me at the time seemed like something like utterly impossible, you know?
Really?
Oh yeah, it was like, wow, that's way out of my league. But what I'm going to do is just cut that down at least in half and make that my goal. So I did that. And there's something about committing to it, like making a decision.
Yeah.
And when I did that, I wrote it down and I turned it into my rep, and he would check on me, like, how you doing? And it was like, when I did that, I'm like, okay, now I have accountability and now I got to make it happen.
Yes. Oh, so good.
So, yeah. So I went home. I'm like, okay, what can I do? And I'm thinking, and I had just got this new bioenergetic scanning system at the seminar.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about that is a whole separate story. Using that system with the system we have here, Direct Script, is what really let me propel forward. But that system had been available to me for years, and I had never even asked the question, how much is it? Because in my head, I'm like, well, I can't afford it. I can't
Wow.
afford it. Like, I don't have any credit. I don't have any money. Turns out they did free financing in-house.
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, you gotta ask, you gotta
Yeah.
seek it out. So anyway, I decided to start doing health screenings. I had always had a model of like kind of community health to where people that normally couldn't afford these big, huge plans, these big, huge programs, and these expensive clinics, they could do care with me a la carte, so that they would be able to get the natural care,
Okay.
um,
Yeah.
that they wanted and that they needed. And so I said, well, you know what? I'm going to do these screenings. I'm going to do a really affordable visit, just a little screening. It's not this big drawn out thing.
Yes.
And I started doing it at my church. And I would do that. And then I would send them this direct script prescription for the OHS supplements.
Yeah.
And they would be able to get their supplements that were specific to their body.
Mm.
So they got amazing results
Yeah.
and they felt great. And guess what? They wanted to feel great the next month. the
Yeah.
next month, the next
Yes.
month. So they started to reorder on their own.
Mm.
And it was amazing because that started to create that residual income that I had always wanted.
Wow.
And it was still within what I was putting in these plans
Yes.
to do. And it wasn't sales, it was literally like help.
Yeah.
And I loved that.
I remember talking to Pastor Lewis and him saying something about his daughter, and she was trying to get pregnant for so long. And you were like, give me, I don't even remember what he said, but you're like, give me this long
Yes.
and she will get pregnant. And I could feel from him like it was a moment for him where he's like, this is the real deal, because
yes.
you did it within the time frame that you said, and then she got pregnant.
Yes.
And when you have a testimonial like that, and when it's your grandchild, it's like, oh, done.
Right.
This lady isn't messing around. So yeah, I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that for those that are watching our podcast and that, talking about residual income, like what are we talking about, especially in the healthcare world? Well, in the healthcare world with chiropractors, naturopaths, holistic medical doctors, and that they don't have this exit plan. And the doctor that I was speaking to on stage could tell he was slowing down because of his age, wasn't able to treat as many patients, so the income wasn't as high. But he was a great doctor and helped thousands of people over the years. But he wasn't able to keep up at that pace. And so the income was only coming in from the patients he was working with, even though he was teaching them about proper nutrition, about whole food vitamins and all that. They would leave his clinic, and even though they kept taking the vitamins that he taught them about, they would eventually go somewhere and buy them from like a big box chain and that, and start buying these synthetics because they just would forget, and he would no longer benefit. So really what we've done is just worked to allow the person that actually did the educating, did the training, helped the patients get on the right path with the right supplements, the right nutrition, the right exercise, have them still be able to benefit after the patient's gone and healthy, and make it to where it actually morally and rightfully so is in its place. And those are the systems that we're talking about for residual income, so that these health professionals can, after they've done their job, and they have to do their job where it doesn't work, right? The patient has to get better. They have to understand and see the difference, whether blood work or the testing, that the nutrition and the formulas work. But after that, the patient would continue on, and the doctor could go and work with more patients and help more patients and still benefit. And I think that that dynamic is so important and misunderstood today, I think, in the world. And it's one of those that's really based on the way it should be, on the truths. And that's a system that we focus in a lot at Optimal Health System. The doctors, a lot of people don't hear about. So it's really cool to have Dr. Jeaneen on to talk about it. So we have this beautiful history. And then now you made a decision, you got your scanning, went to your church group. What came out of that?
Well, I hit that doctor's goal, like blew through it, and was just like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But the biggest part of it was being able to touch so many more people than I thought I could touch.
Yeah.
And then the people that I touched, they shared with their families.
Yeah.
And they shared with their community, and it just really exploded. And it got me out of that comfort zone, and it put me a lot more aligned with my purpose.
Yeah.
And it's just been amazing. And so from that, I said, well, I'm out here. People are starting to know who I am. I may as well just make the best of it.
Yeah.
And so even though I'm still shy on the inside and I'm still introverted,
Yeah.
I'm now able to help other doctors that were where I was. And that is such a blessing. I mean, when people started telling me, oh my God, thank you so much for sharing your story, I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
And it's just, I realized that sometimes the people that you can help the most are the people that are where you used to be. So that's been
So true.
really powerful. And because of that decision and because of the way that income started to come in, now I'm able to have a lot more freedom. I no longer have a second job.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
no
good.
longer have a home-based business.
That's good.
I am all in with
Yeah.
my practice and with my mission, and it's just been amazing.
And we
love
love
that.
following you because we see you in different places. You're just down in Ken
Oh my
Killen
gosh.
and different things. And, it's so exciting to see you travel around and you see that's a passion of yours too. And we love watching.
Oh, I do. And I think for me, one of the first conversations we ever had was you telling me that you're an introvert and how fearful you were to like just speak with people, but yet you were always willing to get into the rooms
Yes.
with others. You were
Mm.
always willing to learn. You were always at least willing to take the first step out of fear,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so you talking to me about that was one of the first times that my eyes were open to people because everybody else that I was around, I was like, no, they're just natural extroverts. So it's easier for them,
Mhm.
right? But to meet you, who is an actual introvert, but still willing to put herself out there a little bit, and then you just kind of chipped away at it.
Yeah.
Like each time you got into a new room, it was just chipped away. And I never would have said that about you, right?
So many people don't. They don't believe it.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that I still feel those things. I do it anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, the feeling doesn't go away. Being in the front of the room is not my favorite place to be,
Yeah.
but I do it anyway because of the impact.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
I know it's making a difference.
yeah. You were my first introduction to that. And I'm like, whoa. And so you helped me in so many ways to just get over the fear of communicating with people or speaking to groups. And I remember what's interesting is I remember having a conversation with Myron Golden,
Mhm.
and he looked at me and says, I'm an introvert. And I was like,
Excuse me?
excuse me? Yeah. I'm like, oh no, you're not. And he's like, if you'll notice, I sit in the back of most rooms. And, he's like, people come to me and I talk to them and I love to share what I know, but naturally. And so the more that you do get into those rooms, you realize everybody has their thing. Nobody just is naturally charismatic and willing to do all the things except maybe this guy.
But I've seen the same growth in you. It's been amazing
Oh.
to watch.
Oh,
I remember the first couple times he put you up on stage and you were like kicking and
Yeah.
screaming, and he would tell us, she's going to kill me.
yeah.
And like the growth, and now you're
Aw.
teaching seminars and doing this podcast.
Aw.
It's amazing.
Well, thank you. It's probably
And
because of
that
you.
was
Good.
I think that a great place to kind of go, that just feeling the energy is a little different than we were thinking. But what I'm sitting back here listening to you two and the dynamic is about the levels that you would ascend to without even realizing it. And then you look back and say, oh my gosh, if you would have asked me 5 years ago or 3 years ago, would I be doing this? Would I be doing the podcast, speaking like you're doing?
Yeah.
Everything that you're doing now. The story really isn't that you came to your own of what you desired as a little girl, and that is to be this great holistic health professional. I'm sure you thought about patience, right? About patience. It's actually transcended that. And the same thing with Hilary to now you're being looked at and asked to, and you are inspiring other health professionals, others to improve their fitness. And I'd like to hear from both of you. Like, did you ever think that would happen? And what do you feel was why did that happen? And is that important? I really want to kind of go there for a minute because both of you are at another level. And I'm the firm belief that in order to enjoy and actually learn something at the highest level, once you've gone through the education and the application, most people don't take action. Then you're called to teach others. And a lot of people don't step into that calling, right? They don't step, but once you do, there's levels of joy and happiness there that can't be found anywhere else. And both of you are in that place. Did you see yourself getting there? Kind of Go through that, both of you. Dr. Janeen.
You could not have convinced me. There's no amount of money that would have convinced me that I would be where I am here now. And it was really just, my faith and being open to the Spirit and being obedient when I got that calling, I got that tug. Because it started when I first started to get out of the box was when I started, I met my pastor online, and it was over some health topics. Like I saw some of his videos where he was always into natural health and, the ploys of the enemy in terms of our foods and the toxins that we're being exposed to and all this. So I had heard that. And I was at a lecture and I heard some information that really resonated with what he was saying. So I reached out to him online and he responded back and, he was like, oh yeah, I would like to see that, show me more. And so we got to talking and he found out what I did. And he said, well, we're getting ready to open our new church. Would you like to come and talk to the ladies? And I'm like, oh my God. But I said, yes. And that was the first time I spoke to him.
I didn't know that.
And then the next time was when your husband, he reached out and asked me to speak at Super Seminar. And my first inkling is, of course, I'm not going to speak at Super Seminar. Are you crazy? I'm not qualified to do that. But I had already told myself, I had made a commitment that from now on, the answer is going to be yes. Then I'm going to figure the nerves out on the back end. And so I made that commitment. And that's what I do to this day. Every time an opportunity comes,
goodness,
I'm not qualified, isn't it? But yes, okay. And then the freak out happens at home. And then
the freak out happens at home.
And then it goes great. But it was really just deciding that I was going to be obedient to my calling and just whatever it takes, do it, make it happen.
The decision to immediately say yes, the decision to immediately do what you actually know the answer should be, but then figuring out. I hope everyone's listening to that, because I think that for me right now, the biggest takeaway is to immediately get over the fear by saying yes and then dealing with it. And most people don't. Most people, the immediate is you want to say
go off of emotion.
Oh, there you go.
I used to go off of emotion. And it was like, I can't make a decision off of emotion. I've got to make the decision that I know is right.
Yeah.
I'll deal with the emotion later because it's going to be there regardless.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Because that's what holds me back. So one of the things that has really impacted me the most is the thought that there's so many more people I could have helped if I had made this decision. And sometimes that brings tears to my eyes because I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I blocked so many people's blessings by not being obedient sooner.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I think I resonate with the calling. I think I was like you in a different way. I never wanted to be a doctor, but I loved fitness. From a very young age. And then as I grew, I felt connected to it in a very higher calling way that I feel like only God could do, right? That's truly how I felt. Like it was a burning passion, and who else could instill that in me? And so I felt that. But yet, as I got older and the option to compete which was where I felt called to, all I could feel was the judgment of competing from others, right? And yet somehow the calling to compete was so strong. And there was just a moment where I was like, you know what? I'm going to forget the noise. I'm just going to get rid of the noise and I'm going to move forward in the calling. And I think that's probably the first step, right? To just follow the calling. I think we all have it. Even if you don't feel it, there's somewhere in your life where you can be like, oh, that's what it was. Right. And I think that initial agreement with God and following through with it is what probably opens the door. And then once you do that, I think you almost feel like you have to be slammed with other fears and other things that are going to stand in your way because, right, what happens each time we just step into it a little bit more? We grow and we feel more capable and all of that. So yeah, I would say the calling for sure. And then the willingness, for me, it was the willingness to get into the room. I'm willing to get into the room, but don't set me by anybody I have to talk to, and don't make me speak to anybody, but I'm at least willing to sit in the room. And I remember the first time that David Meltzer, we were at an event, and I sat like in the very back row, and he told me that from the stage he could see me sitting, and he could see me sitting like this. And I was, and of course I was listening, and he could tell I was listening, but he said everything about the way that I was listening was closed, right? And he said gradually, as I would listen, my arms came unfolded, and I sat up a little bit straighter, and I really tried to, because I think a lot of me was always like, make myself as small as possible so whoever's up there is not going to ask me anything, right? I don't want to be asked any questions. But I thought that was so interesting. And so I think the more you do it, right, the more, I don't know, the more you got into the rooms, the more, were you more comfortable?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyways.
Absolutely. I think, man, I think the takeaway today is different than what we thought, but we went into this with probably the least amount of script as possible. And I think there was a reason for it, right? The takeaways we're kind of ending the FitFam podcast today, at least for me, listening to these two great women, is to get in the arena, right? Both of them, against their nature, the feelings, felt the calling and got into the arena anyways, and whether it's in the front row or it's the back row, just get in the arena, you'll find your place. And I think in life, that's what it's about. And we'd like to, because of what FitFam's about, ask everyone to do that with their health and fitness. A lot of times people don't want to improve their nutrition or their exercise, so they don't want to go to the gym. Like everyone in the gym has been there 1,000 times. They're going to laugh at me.
It's true.
Even nutrition, my friends are going to say, "Oh, you want another diet?" And they're scared about feelings versus actually, you know what? My calling is to be the healthiest possible, to have the most energy for my loved ones and for the community, and for even my mission to enjoy life. Let that be enough to get you in the arena, to get started, and then watch what happens, because all these crazy blessings come and you'll end up somewhere that you didn't even think was possible. That's one of the cool things about, right, the way God works is you're going to end up in places that you just didn't maybe even dream of. And so everyone, get into the arena when it comes to your health and nutrition mindset, and just do that, because as you do it, you'll find that you'll be led, and it'll be easier to make those steps to be able to reach happiness.
Yeah.
And the joy. And then the ultimate is to share with other people. And that's one of the great things as we finish up day 4 here with this seminar that we're teaching, is sharing with other health professionals that we know have hundreds or thousands of patients, and then they're going to be able to help people reach optimal health. So thanks so much, Dr. Janeen, being here all week.
Oh my gosh, such a trooper.
And even Hilary opening up, I just love this podcast today. And we're going to get into teaching the doctors and finishing up. So as always, this is Miss Natural Olympia Hilary.
And this is Doug, the Formulator.
And the great Dr. Janeen Ridgeway. Thank you so much. Everyone, until next time, keep chilling.